Now I'd like to request the next speaker of this session, Professor H.S. Prasad sir, who is from DU. He has a lot of contribution for the field of philosophy. His specializations are Indian epistemology, metaphysics, time, Buddhist philosophy. Sir, may I request you to present?
Thank you very much. Namaste to all of you. Philosophy, endless. Every time you think about a problem, philosophically, you create more problems. Be careful. Whether it's a Shankaracharya or Upanishad or Buddha or anything. One after another you say. And this is actually the way you keep philosophy alive. This is a very serious thing, very serious thing. Because lots of thinking is required and lots of ways of doing requires. And many times I have the difficulty. Actually, my weakness is that I can't understand others. दूसरे को तो मैं समझ ही नहीं सकता और अपनी मूर्खता को मिटा भी नहीं सकता. How, what to do? You don't have to go anywhere else. You just be here, look around, and then you will find that there is oneness and there is plurality. Just go. Go on the terrace, look around, and you see sun is there, moon is there, ocean is there, lots of things are there. Endless plurality. But at the same time, all of them are integrated. All of them are integrated. That is very important to notice, that one and many, nobody can, through explanation, destroy or set aside. One is there because of integration. Plurality does not go anywhere. That is one thing. Another thing is that I must tell you in the very beginning that my problems keep me engaged for the simple reason that I want to understand. I want to understand. In this paper, I have tried to understand the very meaning and nature of the word itself. And if I don't understand the text itself, the authentic text, then I cannot talk about any Advaita, because I'm talking about the Advaita, and Advaita has a position, and that position is already written in the Sanskrit text. This means that I must have the preconditions you have to fulfill. You must know the Sanskrit, you must know the etymology, you must know the philology, and then the arguments, etc., all the ways of doing the things, explanation. And this is not only analysis part. Analysis part is very important because in your thinking, the coherence and consistency is the necessary part, you can say that. But how to do that? And we do say that this is the perfect understanding, this is false. We always say the adequate explanation or account of this and that. My friend, very clearly, the two scholars he discussed, and that was clear to me, but at the same time, that is only the adequate account. It is not the perfect account, that not allowed. So when I was trying to understand, I didn't know what to do that. Where to start, how to maintain the process, and where to end it. Nobody has ever claimed. If claimed, then wrong, you can say that. We should understand the way we are, our very constitution itself is problematic. All the senses, or internal or external, and all sorts of players. ये एक बहुत ही जितना सज्जन है उतना ही वो दुष्ट है, और वो है माइंड. आप ध्यान रखिए, जितना सज्जन हो सकता है उतना ही वो दुष्ट हो सकता है, और दुष्ट हो सकता है, और जितना ज्ञानी होगा वह उतना ही जो है अज्ञानी है. And you don't know, and that is very much inbuilt inside you. You are the problems for yourself, and you are the problems for others. You make the mistakes, and you correct the mistake. The mind, that is the mistake. Lots of things are there. Now, this is a tentative presentation, and I want to understand. I tried. Everybody says there's Sanatan, Vaishvik Drishti, Ekam-eva-advitīyam. But I have never heard from anybody's mouth or a scholar or etc. simply taken for granted that Advaita is Ekam-eva-advitīyam. This is the thing there. So what I did, that few years back, I said that if I cannot understand, for example, let me take Shankar. Shankar is not my specialization. Nothing is my specialization. What he does, I have a model, kitchen model. I have a kitchen model. The kitchen model means that lots of raw materials are available in the field or on the tree or on the earth elsewhere, and we bring them through process to the kitchen, and all sorts of things are there. Raw materials are there, 100. The spices are 50, because I know the kitchen. I know, you can say, how that I go to the kitchen, I see the people, the cooking, etc. And all sorts of things are there. Gas is there, water is there, utensils are there, this is there, the spices are there. But you have to be very, very careful that how to maintain. Another thing is that अगर कढ़ाई में अगर सब्जी बना रहे हैं तो उसी कढ़ाई में उसके आधा में हलवा नहीं बना सकते. Be careful. Yes, बहुत जरूरी है to know the cooking part. Likewise, mind is the kitchen. Mind is the kitchen, because that is another thing is that mind is the cook also. And the grocery is also the mind's ideas. So the mind is not only the kitchen, etc., but also the cook, and then cook, and what kind of taste the mind is creating. So this is what these are the things. So these are the things I have in my mind, and that now see, my way of doing things is that to begin at the beginning. To begin at the beginning. I have to begin, but where to begin? So let me start from the beginning. I cannot understand Shankaracharya, not at all, unless he is proved to be borrowing endless ideas from Nagarjuna, the Buddhist. The methodology you will find there. Unless you have God path, and in between the whole system, the thing is going on. You can't start from the beginning. If suppose some person is covered under a curtain and only one part of the body, like suppose the knee, is seen, can you identify that person? You cannot identify the person. These are the things. So suddenly we can't start at any point of time or any point of place, you can say that. So what I have, that one and many, integration, etc., these are already the given, already given. Just only you have to look around. It's so simple. Now, how to explain? You take the two systems, that Vedanta, or you can say starting with Vedas, etc., and then Vedanta, and all sorts of this, in a beautiful way. And they are what I have done, that I put the two together. One is the contemporary one, Sri Aurobindo, who died in 50, perhaps 50, and then you have the Upaniṣadic. And then I went through that. So what are the points? The title itself is Sri Aurobindo's Purṇādvaita. Purṇādvaita. Perfect. He claims that my position is Purṇādvaita, Purna, perfect. This means that Shankar is not there, or all other Advaitins are not there. He alone is there. His idea is there, the Purṇādvaita. But anyway, he tried to understand the Purṇādvaita in what sense. And he criticizes Shankar, for example, but there is a purpose. Shankar is not so stupid. You can't say that he is not intelligent and he is not brilliant and etc. He knows how to do that. And he has the technique that first you have to decide about your conceptual and categorical framework. कहाँ cooking करना है, क्षेत्र कहाँ है. Like there's a kitchen, for example, you must decide about your cooking. आज खाना क्या बनाना है, ये तो सोचिए. Suddenly you can't go and then start cooking. You can't do that. So every philosopher has a conceptual or categorical framework, the whole terminology, the whole strategy, etc. And here, only it's not that only arguments will do. And if you go that, this becomes at one point, it becomes a mystery. It has the simile, it has the metaphors, it has the myths. All these things are done. When arguments are out, arguments cannot catch the reality. You can't do that. Then what is left with that? That is the prapancha, the entire, all these arguments and rationality, and best language, etc. All these things are prapancha. So in the Buddhism, unless prapancha is a shunya, empty, you can say that. It applies to both. It applies to both. So if you take, sorry, in short time, I cannot explain everything to you, but I'm making it as simple as possible, as I have understood, as I have committed mistake. So this way, if you see, Shankar starts, if I'm addressing to my students, great scholar, not at all. Actually, they are very brilliant people. They know my lecture is not for them. This is. So very politely I say that this is for my students. Now, what is the reason? Shankaracharya has two parts, you can say that. That one is the commentary part, Prasthantraya, you have the Upanishads, you have Bhagavad Gita, and then Badrayans, Brahma Sutra, okay? But he starts with Adhyas Bhash. Adhyas. Nagarjuna starts with 8 forms of negation. It's a shocking, I say something, it's a shocking. The very first time, if you start with Adhyas Bhashya, and that method is that Adhyas, Arop, पहले आरोप करो उस पर, सुपर इम्पोजिशन, उसके बाद उसका अपवाद करो. इससे समथिंग लाइक दिस वन, दिस इज द कवर, इट्स ए जस्ट वन, आई कांट सी द टेबल, दिस पार्ट, this is, I covered it, I can't see the table, but you gradually you keep it, take it away, then you find that this is अपवाद. अध्यास यही है ना जी. नहीं, लेकिन समझने की बात है, जब वही आप अध्यास आरोप, पहले तो आरोप करते हैं फिर हटाते हैं. शून्य वाला भी यही करता है. तो शून्य वाले ने ये किया जो यहाँ भी आता है, और अध्यास इन ऑल दिस सिस्टम वन, that this is the actually, and this is concept actually, this is my ideas. They are prapanch. So if you want to, this is the prapanch which is covering this table, you gradually you remove. Let me leave here. When you remove, then this one is now clear. And this one is now being removed. Now there are two things. One is the reality, ultimate reality, and another is the phenomenal, you can say phenomena, part of the phenomena, for example. Now in this case, that this is empty and this one is also empty. Both are empty. Both are prapancha shunya. Because this ultimate reality does not have, you can say, that language or a structure, spatio-temporal, etc. So this is another, and that's why it's empty of the prapanch. And this one is shunya because it does not have any ontological status. It's as simple as this. This is. Now what I have, that if I don't go point by point, the text itself, because I am talking about that text, so I can't play any game. I can't play any game. And that's why the commentators have the lots of differences among themselves, so you can say that. And we are borrowing from others. That's a different thing, is that I am not acknowledging. If I am not acknowledging, this means that it is my original. The claim. Throughout the history, you will find that happens. So I have here that the title is Sri Aurobindo's Purṇādvaita and the Upaniṣadic Doctrine of Ekam-eva-advitīyam. Ekam-eva-advitīyam define kiya usne, nature kiya. And another thing is that, where is the plurality? How do you handle the plurality? How do you handle? And Professor Pradhan did mention, he did mention it, that is the plurality, and in his own way he tried to protect, perhaps if I have understood this one, the way he maintained, the way he raised the question in the name of Professor Mishra and others, for example, Professor Mohanty and etc. So this one, so what I have done, the way I have tried to understand, and remember that this methodology, adhyas arop in one case, and in other cases it becomes the mystery. It becomes a simile, metaphors, etc. and myths. These are the, and these cannot be, at least myths cannot be accepted by the contemporary Western or contemporary Indians, those Indians who are influenced by the terminology, doctrines, and methodology. And that becomes the transplantation of the organs. आप शंकराचार्य में उनका organ बदल दें, see, language, the terminology, and this is something like this one. And that becomes very difficult, very difficult to maintain the originality, if you want to say. So all these things were my problems actually, very much. So I have to investigate all sorts of things in all ways, that how does X is maintaining or constructing a theory or all sorts of things, you can say there. And that's why, and only then you can understand, but at the same time, I'm not competent to cover all sorts of things. This is. So anyway, but I have taken, the one word is Sanatan. Sanatan is a simple, Sanatan Dharma. It's a simple, it's a very, very simple. Sanatan Dharma, very simple. The one way I could not understand, so I started working. It took 6 months of time to understand what does Vaishvik Drishti. What is Vaishvik Drishti? The very simply there. When I started writing, it took 6 months, as I told you, and 44 pages I could write. And then he said, it's very simple. The very simple, simply this, that Sanatan Dharma, my son Sanatan, that is the permanent, and then the Vaishvik Drishti means again the entire cosmos, oneness and plurality, and that is the Samanvaya. The one means the Samanvaya. Plurality is still there, and that is why I can't deny that. I can't reduce everything to the sleeping Brahman, inconsistent state, not there. That is very different. I mean there, and that's why you have to defend that. Now, in Sri Aurobindo's position is that the one is there, it's okay, plurality is there, but so far as the essence is concerned, the essence is one. So you have all sorts of things are there, and this is there. So these things are there. Sri Aurobindo's position is that. So before I understand Sri Aurobindo, I focused on the Vedanta, Upanishads, you can say that. And then I try to understand Ekam-eva-advitīyam, for example. Then I started certain things, and then I have this content, the list here is there, and then I may not come, this is 16 pages are here, and I have one article I have written on Sri Aurobindo, and it took 10 months time for me to understand. It was a very difficult time for me. So, but anyway, I have taken selected points, for example. One is the introduction, Hinduism and Sanatan Dharma. Let me understand Hinduism. What is Hinduism itself? Hinduism is based on all sorts of the Sanatan Dharma or the texts, Vedas, etc. That is actually Sanatan. So, Hinduism is not a word. Actually, it's a different kind of in the name of geographical situation, and then the name, etc. So I did not enter into that one. But Sanatan Dharma. So they are the Sanatani. Buddhists are also Sanatani. Jainas are also Sanatani. Sikhs are also Sanatani. Now Sanatani, you see that the difference is that you are also Sanatani, I am also Sanatani. So if you take the two traditions, that the Vedantin and the Buddhists are taking Prakriti as the starting point. Here, the consciousness of a different, in a different way, which is Sanatan, etc. And then the entire thing is given there, and this is actually the source of entire manifestation. But there is a state which is the sleep mode, and then when the consciousness, you can say, is in the waking state, then the creation is created. Creation is created. But what is the nature of that creation? It may be, according to Shankaracharya, it may be just a phenomena which does not have any ontological status. Another will say that exactly ontology is there, that is actually as good as oneness and plurality as good as or ontologically the same as the, but how to maintain the Advaita, etc. So lots of problems are there. So I have taken this also. Sri Aurobindo's Advaita philosophy. The next thing is the definition and the word Advaita. And then I started reading the way I do. I am telling you that Nasadiya Sukta. If you read the Nasadiya Sukta in the Vedas, then you will find that lots of dilemmas are there. Dilemmas are there, negations are there. I mean, it's a lots of, for anyone, the beginner, it's a shock to start with a negativity, you can say. Paradox, etc. Arguments of different, conflicting arguments and whatnot, and you are surrounded by so many Purva Pakshas, and then you have the difficulty how to save my own position. And that's why you will find that that there is, that Chatushkoti, Vinirmukti, and different modes of predication. All these things are there, and then these are. So that is, you have to study. So I went through the Nasadiya Sukta, where it creates the issues. Lots of issues. Hai bhi, nahi hai, dono hai, kya hai, kaise hai. If you read, you will find that you become very disturbed, very disturbed. But if you struggle to the end, if you see the very idea, and you can say the purpose within that, that is it. And then Chandogya Upanishad, Brihadaranyaka Upanishad, and Taittiriya Upanishad, where Panchakosh, the theory is there. And the next one is that, which I have titled, the beings of potentiality, beings, being, B capital, beings of potentiality, possibility, actuality of creation, and the Nam Roop. But Nam Roop, Brahman is not given the Nam Roop in its original state, but all these diversities are given name and form. For example, chair. But this is also the part of plurality. The plurality is emerging from the oneness. You can say that in one interpretation. And then there is that 4 Mahavakyas. The 4 Mahavakyas, that a Prajnanam Brahma, that is one, I am Atma Brahma, Sarvanubhu, Aham Brahmasmi, Tattvamasi. They have some importance. One is a metaphysical position, another is the ethical position. Aham Brahmasmi, the ego is suppressed or destroyed, and altruism is developed, you can say that, in ethical sense, you can say that. So, going out of yourself and reaching the multiple self, for example, okay? And this kind of going out of yourself, that is the most important thing so far as your plurality is concerned, the material. Another thing is that one takes the position, so far as the Ved Upanishad, etc. are concerned, that they have the assumption, no philosophy, no philosophy will start or will end without assumption, presuppositions, or postulations, etc. I'm telling you. जरा bluntly बोल रहे हैं, sorry प्रधान जी, but that without that you can't start. That is taken for granted. Somewhere you have to start, and this. So you have, the difficulty, because at every point I have the difficulty. So here you have to interpret the 4 Mahavakya. There is a 5th one also, Sarvam Khalu Idam Brahma. You can take it as the 5th one. If you understand this one, this itself is very important, and this is the part of Advaita. The next one is that when the model, when I was trying to understand Sri Aurobindo, I had really, my life became so problematic and very painful and very frustrating when I had Life Divine and many other subjects, thousands of pages before me. And then I find that Sri Aurobindo never writes anything in a very systematic way, the way we write actually. And references are not there. And text, they are quoted, not full references or karika, etc. So in this one, what he has, that his method is that there is an involution. For example, suppose the Brahman is in the sleep mode, that is inconsent. But there comes a time when it or he or she, Brahman अब पता नहीं नपुंसक है कि पुरुष है कि स्त्रीलिंग है, हम तो नहीं जानते, लेकिन ये बड़ा मुश्किल है कहना, लेकिन ईट लगाते हैं, न्यूट्रल लगाते हैं शायद ना, न्यूट्रल लगाते हैं. उसमें क्या होता है कि somehow there is involution that is energized, but this is just to explain. And then something start from the bottom, inconscient matter, etc., 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 then the super mind, and then the, now he has four modes of this kind of steps, you can say stages. Seven chord of being, 8 chord of being, 9 chord of being, 11 chord of being. Many being, say the different levels, for example, right from the inconscient to the super mind, etc., and the Sachidananda, you can say, where everything. I say that how to understand. And then I said that after much struggling, that this is the W model actually. W model. The way you write, the way you go up, then down, then up. Inconsent means that top down, okay, bottom up. You can say top down, bottom up. So I said that my formula is very successful. The kitchen model, this one. How do you understand? How do you bring the clarity of understanding? This is the, so when I say that is energizing, because that the power of dynamics of you can say Sachidanand, that is coming down, and then you are starting and then coming. So this way, so I chose the 9 chord of being, 9 stages, you can say, different levels of progressive, you can say, the progressive, and then the super mind, and then the this end. So these are the, so I am reading a few things. I hope कितना है, 2 घंटे और है ना, 1.5 घंटे कितना? हाँ, यस, जरा अध्यक्ष महोदय को समझा दीजिए. So अच्छा, few things. ये समराइजिंग तो कर रहे हैं, समराइजिंग तो कर रहे हैं. पिछली बार हमने एक कहा था, देखिए फिलॉसफी आसान कर सकते हैं. पिछली बार हमने जो किया था वो बंदर का खेल था, कि बंदर का खेल ये था, देखिए आप किसी को लाइफ में जो कॉमन एग्जांपल्स हो लीजिए, मैं लेता हूं, किसी नौकरानी को या किसी को कहते, तो ये लिया, नहीं वो लिया, चलो वो भी ला, चलो दौड़ के इधर जाएगी तो उधर जाएगी, उधर आएगा या आएगी. पति भी दौड़ता है, पत्नी भी दौड़ती है, इसमें दो राय नहीं है. वहां भी करो, वहां नौकरानी भी दौड़ती है. तो हमने कभी अंग्रेजी में कहते थे, आपको कहानी होगा, पिछली बार हमने कहा था कि hasty conclusion is very dangerous. और इसको एक बार यहां भी कह दें, क्योंकि कोई चीज इंटरेस्टिंग है, कि मेरे गुरुजी एक बार हमको 8वीं क्लास में कहे थे, वो याद रहता है. मेरी माँ कहती है, ये 2 एग्जाम्पल हम जरूर रखते हैं, ध्यान रखिए. I mean, in the class, उन्होंने कहा कि, I mean, I was good in mathematics. I solved the problems, or other students were watching. That Shankar has solved the problem so quickly. But then my teacher told them, don't worry, he just like the Harbadi ke Vivah Kanpatti Sindhu. Philosophy में, I am telling you, this is the truth. This is the truth. Harbadi में, it's a hasty conclusion. Hasty conclusion, I don't worry. So these such examples give you the insights, for example. So this one another thing is that Advaita, Dvaita, Advaita, आप टेक्निकल समझिए, Advaita, Dvaita, and Dvaita and Advaita. Advaita, Buddhists are using like this one. And another thing is that monism. I try to understand monism. What does it mean? And then I find that Advaita is of course not easy, but very. So I have, again, non-dualism is not monism. So a few passages, but what to do, and so I have towards the end, and Tarikas, I have explained all these things. So another thing, the last one is that I made a chart, and in this one is that top down or descent order of involution, which I said, which I explained in brief, that this way you can say this is the process. If you catch the process, then you arrange the stages and the steps, for example, that it's okay, and then you can justify. Panchakosh theory is a very, you can say, very insightful. Taittiriya Upanishad में है ना, Taittiriya Upanishad, and then Ekam-eva-advitīyam, in Chandogya Upanishad, Brihadaranyaka Upanishad में metaphysics का एक position है, जो 5 states you can say, Purṇādvaita, etc. Also you can say that if you bring all these together. So in this one, if you remember that in concept, the extreme end of the surface plane, then the matter, then the life, then psyche, soul, then mind, and then you have so many others. This is the 7th one perhaps, and the supermind, before that overmind, and what not, etc. So that way there are 9. So you have to understand that every step is a progress, you can say, purification. So this way, adhyarop, whatever adhyarop is there, whatever the dynamics reality or with the full development, when it is fully developed, pure consciousness, etc. in this one. Now in this one, the metaphysics, and here on the other side, in many cases, you'll find that the epistemology is dominating. You have to understand that only metaphysics will not do. It's meaningless unless you find epistemology is there. Unless epistemology is there, ज्ञान है लेकिन आचरण नहीं है. पूछा गया, कई बार पूछा जाता कि who are you, why you, in 2 words you tell me the 2 in 2 words. You summarize your idea in 2 words, like Buddha or any rishis, etc. And then he will say that it is a vidya and acharan. If you have a vidya like Duryodhan, despite the fact that his teachers were very brilliant, Dronachar or Kripachar, but still he did not have acharan, good one, always the bad one you see there. So this one, ultimately you find that I simply don't want to read sometimes where its a purpose is lok sangrah or lok kalyan or lok etc. unless it is pragmatic in your life, unless the point of view is pragmatic, then it is, you can say that simply it's a worthless, you can say that. So pragmatism, how to focus, how to make a room for pragmatism. How much pragmatism? Pragmatism is very important, very important. But at the same time, Jay, that all these analyses, you simply do not enter into Sachidananda, etc., like Mukti, and he also rightly in his own way said that Mukti is not that one that सीधे अब दिल्ली में निर्भया जो जहाँ दाह संस्कार होते हैं उसको कहते हैं कि ये सारी चीजें. इसमें एक चीज ये देखना पड़ेगा कि there is a transformation. If you have ignorance, then that ignorance is overcome, ignorance, and then the vidya is that way. And that's why this one, that there is a transformation. If you have the knowledge, then accordingly you will improve your own personality, your own behavior, your own purpose, you can say, we will fulfill. And that's why it's very important. But at the same time, the acharan in pragmatic manner. कोई ऐसा बैठा है चाहे वो मस्जिद हो, चाहे मंदिर हो, चाहे गिरजाघर हो, चाहे anywhere you go, and then if somebody claims, then it is a pragmatic. It should be Pragmatism is very important. And here I end here, that everyone, that spiritual transformation, every Indian, and India's civilizational values, you can say, it's very important, which is a very, you can say that, and that's why this is civilizational values, which has the content of virtues also. And that's why we are Sanatani. And we are Sanatani, we are permanent because the Surya is permanent, because the water is, because Hawa is not there. And the last point is that you are Manushya, a human being, all other creatures are there, but you have sufficient intellect, you have rationality, etc. But you are not only a simple person, not only the simple one, rather you have the potentiality or possibility of extending your own self to the other, actually, to the other. And another thing is that you are not only a human being, simple human being, but also you have a level of, you can say, Purush. And Purush is the state of the, you can say, the cosmic divinity, for example. And all these rules are there. So you are actually a potential Purush. Purush means that a cosmic being, because every element, all the five Mahabhutas or four Bhutas constitute your being, and they are actually cosmic elements. And that's why you are a potential, you can say, divinity. Divinity is inside. And this is our understanding. Unlike Abrahamic religions, which are great ones, that's a different thing. I'm not criticizing anyone. But this one is that since it is a kind of assumption is that divinity is inside. You don't, Ram, Krishna, or any other God, they will not come here because they have already shown the path, and they are very much inside you. And that's why divinity is in the humanity, and divinity is actually the common humanity. And that's why you are, रोकना है, अच्छा रोक दिया. नहीं, divinity is. Thank you very much.
I think everything is clear. Still, if there anybody has, oh, you have.
आपने कहा दिया क्लियर है, अब तो इसका मतलब कोई क्वेश्चन नहीं पूछा.
Clear नहीं, मैं क्या करूँ?
इनको तो बोलना नहीं चाहिए एक्चुअली, इतना इनके हरास हो जाएंगे.
I'm Dilip Mohanto from Calcutta University. So, thank you so much for.
हम तो समझ रहे हैं कि आपके आने के पहले ही लेक्चर खत्म कर देंगे, लेकिन
So I'm just referring you about the writings of Sri Aurobindo, only sharing one of the informations. Many of you already know that it is not so much logical, it's not so much references. In fact, his disciples, Sri Dilip Kumar Rai, who was the classmate of Netaji Subhash Chandra Bose, they had honors together in philosophy. He wrote to Sri Aurobindo. And Aurobindo replied that whatever is called philosophy in my writing, in fact, I received through yogic experience. Only I have tried to rationalize it and put into words. So the source of is the very intuitive, undoubted yogic experience. This is the information. The second thing is that you have from man to divine, or rather divine humanism, you are trying to conclude. The question is, Aurobindo is in his time, if we consider, from a revolutionary to a spiritual master, a philosopher, we say, in a very creative sense, not in the ordinary academic sense he was a philosopher. So science, everybody, the task of philosopher is to explain the world. Science is also explaining the world, but science explains the howness of fact, how it takes place. But philosophers is supposed to say whyness of it. So Aurobindo replied, there is evolution because there is involution. The involution is presupposes. Do you think I know you are a master of Sri Aurobindo. I read some of his very good works, not less than, I think, 44 pages and articles published by Springer. But one thing disturbs my mind, reading this Life Divine and side by side Savitri. In Savitri, he says, I am not a bhakta nor a yogi, but a mere tool in the hands of Lord. On the other hand, in Life Divine, we see the philosopher is saying that because there is involution, so there is evolution. Do you think it's really an explanation, or it's not an explaining away the fact? This actually my jigyasa to you. Thank you.
आपने फिर बोल दीजिए एक बार आओ. I miss.
Like I was going out, you only wanted me to sit. So,
Okay, I shall talk to him later on.
Professor Prasad, what I liked in your talk is your confession that in spite of reading so many years, you have not understood Brahman and Sunya, which is very clearly understood from your talk. Sorry. This is number one. Number two. And second is, if Aurobindo would be sitting in your class, I think since he has not put references and all, he will not even get a B or MA degree. Second. Third, this is what I wanted to tell you. I will finish it very quickly. When you say that Brahman is devoid of the world, so Brahman is devoid of the world, you told, right? Brahman is there is no world in the Brahman, right? That's what you told. Brahman is not having, there is no world in Brahman, or Brahman is devoid of the world, and Sunya is devoid of everything. There is no ontological, you cannot place it. You told these two things. If I'm not going to Sunya, because that is a long question and I don't want to put you here, because what you have told about Sunya Nisyohavata is a different thing. I'm coming to Brahman only. When you say that Brahman is devoid of the world, how would you explain Sarvam Khalu Idam Brahma? This
divide
is
up नहीं कहा.
one. You
फिर
told
correct कर लेते हैं.
Brahman, definitely this is the real, this is the usual understanding. You have not told anything wrong. If Brahman is devoid of the world, how would you explain Sarvam Khalu Idam Brahma? You say Brahman is not without world? Brahman is Brahman is with the world? What is Brahman? Would you accept?
I simply say
No.
that
My question is the world Brahman? Is Brahman there in the world or not? I think you need some time to think, and thank you very much.
that I see. You see, two positions are there. Either you divide in two forms. That like in Kantian, Kant is not my field, but that's that. You
Why
have
do
to
you go to Kant? Let us go to Shankara only, or Nagarjuna?
I'm simply that if there is a metaphysical, holistic metaphysical position that is ontological, you can say that. Another one is that this is just you can say phenomena. Phenomena means that it does not have ontological status. Okay,
It doesn't have a
phenomena in ultimate sense does not have.
does not have an ontological status.
मैं दो पोजीशन देता हूँ. दो पोजीशन.
Like
दो पोजीशन. एक पोजीशन कहेगा, one position that phenomena are hollow. It's a does not.
phenomena is a hollow. There is nothing like is phenomena hollow?
मैं
Like
पहले मैं कह दूं, पहले कह ले. One position may be that that adhyas factor is there.
Yes.
Is it okay?
Adhyasa factor is there.
Epistemological issue is there. That can be corrected. And then what will be left? The foundation. That is the some metaphysical ultimate reality will be left.
Yes.
Is it okay?
Okay.
Okay. In other case, the phenomena.
What is that? Is it devoid of the things or inclusive of the things? That is the question. The question is Brahman devoid of the world, or is world Brahman.
I mean, the way they are maintained, for example, myths, as I told you, and very knowingly, that they look at the methodology.
I like
One
question
position.
is something
yeah,
you are
one-
answering.
one-
Anyway.
Let- I'm saying I'm completing this sentence. I'm completing this sentence. If you check Shankaracharya on the one hand and Sri Aurobindo on the other hand,
Okay.
and then you think about that, the two positions are there. Two positions are there. Every bit of plurality he has the same essence which the Brahman as a whole has, and that is the part of that. You can say that. Suppose somebody understands like this one, something like that. If you take Shankaracharya, for example, Adhyas Bhashya, I have not written, he has written, and very tactfully, that he has Adhyas Bhashya actually. Now, of course, his position will be in conflict with Sri Aurobindo, or you can say that Avinav Gupta, etc. Okay? So these are the different positions they are taking. Or Ramanuji, you can say that. So I am simply saying that each one of them, they are trying to offer or provide adequate account of explanation of their own position. I mean, I know Shuru in the beginning, consistency and coherence, but none of them is perfect. And if you are talking of the perfect, then Prapancha Shunya. You can't apply concepts and language or any conceptual framework, etc. This is. No? नहीं, शून्यता का डिवाइड नहीं ऑर्गेन है. शून्यता का ये मतलब प्रपंच शून्यता. It means प्रपंच शून्यता actually. And they are retaining negativity, they are retaining paradoxes, they are retaining all these things. Okay. इन्होंने तो कुछ कहा नहीं, हमें तो अप्रिशिएट किया है.
Thank you so much, sir, for your interesting explanations.